Season 1 of Fortnite Battle Royale is where the OGs of Fortnite remember some of the game's most iconic features, many of which are no longer around today. Fortnite has experienced a lot of major changes in between Season 1 and now, but the roots of the game still remain the same. An old school limited time mode has been talked about for a while now, which would allow players to revisit the Season 1 days. But until that becomes a reality, the OG Fortnite players can only experience the Season 1 days in their memories. What's up guys, and welcome back to the Simply Viral YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping by. If you guys are new around here, feel free to subscribe with your channel notifications turned on by clicking that bell icon, that way you'll never miss another upload. If you guys are excited for Fortnite Season 8, make sure to drop a like on this video and give it a big thumbs up. Also, be sure to drop us a comment down below letting us know what season you started playing Fortnite Battle Royale in. Now, without further ado, let's jump back into the world of Fortnite and take a look at 8 things in Season 1 that only original players will notice. Fortnite Season 1 started back on October 25th of 2017 and ended a few months later on December 13th. That actually means that Season 1 ended just a little bit over a year ago, and honestly, it feels like it has been a lot longer than that. In a little over a year, we've seen 6 seasons come and go, and our 7th season is currently a little bit over halfway complete, meaning that in 1 year from now, we might actually be on Season 14 or 15 of Battle Royale, which is really weird to think about. Anyways, let's jump into the list. Number 1. Weapon sounds. Fortnite is constantly adapting and evolving before our eyes. At this point, we're receiving weekly or bi-weekly updates on a consistent basis. Adding new features into the game and updating or removing old features as frequently as Epic Games does is something that really separates them out from other developers. One of the main changes that Fortnite has seen in its time is how certain weapons actually sound. Back in Season 1, some of the main guns include the SCAR, the silenced SMG, and the shotguns, to name a few. While some other properties of these weapons have also changed, a few of these iconic original guns have had their sound changed drastically over time. The SCAR and the silenced SMG are the two most notable out of the previous list. The sound of the SCAR that we know now is actually entirely different than it was back in Season 1, and the same situation plays true with the silenced SMG. Of course, we don't have the silenced submachine gun anymore, but prior to it being vaulted, the sound was also drastically different from its original form. Number 2. Weapon damage. Similar to weapon sounds, weapon damage has also been altered a great amount on pretty much every single gun that is still around from Season 7. The SCAR, believe it or not, could actually deal 98 damage to the head back in Season 1, which is completely insane when you compare it to today. Obviously, the SCAR is still incredibly strong, but it doesn't even come close to its original form. The pump and tactical shotguns also be able to use to crit for insane damage as well, and while their recent buffs have made them a little bit more competitive, the original versions were also far superior. Not to mention, you could also technically double pump back in the day, even though that wasn't a popularized meta yet, so the shotguns were seriously effective in game. Number 3. The graphics. Fortnite really is not known for being the most graphically intense game out there, as it is a little bit more cartoony and relaxed compared to other games in the genre. Fortnite's unique graphics have changed though a good bit since the Season 1 days, mostly for the better. Most of these graphical updates have been made to the heads-up display or HUD, and not so much the overall gameplay aesthetic, but a few changes have been made here and there. The lighting effects and textures of things like trees, houses, and even guns has changed quite a bit, as have the way that weapons and loot actually appear on the ground. Primarily though, things like text, ammo display, and other heads-up display options have been on the receiving end of the most prominent graphical changes that Season 1 users will notice and remember better than anyone. Number 4. Bloom. Pretty interesting mechanic that honestly not a ton of other games have. Bloom, of course, is the area in which your bullets spread while shooting, and it has also changed a lot since Season 1. For starters, first shot accuracy was not a thing in Season 1, meaning even if you sat still and lined up your shot perfectly, you still might miss your first shot or two due to the Bloom system. Recoil patterns for certain guns have also varied in multiple cases, which has really affected how certain guns play. Some guns are a little bit easier to use now thanks to the recoil adjustments, and other ones are a little bit harder to master. If you have to ask me though, I'd say it's probably a pretty good thing that Bloom and Recoil were a little bit more prominent back in Season 1, because seriously, if one-shot accuracy was a thing when the gold scar that hit for 98 to the head existed, the game would be a complete and utter disaster. You'd have everybody running around with a gold scar, dinking everyone they saw for 98, and the game would be over in a matter of minutes, because you would just absolutely melt everyone. So it is probably a good thing that things were like they were back in the Season 1 days. Number 5. The Silenced Submachine Gun. If you played Fortnite Battle Royale back in Season 1, you might remember that one of the very first ever DLC guns, or bonus guns if you will, was the Silenced SMG, which remained in the game for many seasons to come. The Silenced Submachine Gun came to Fortnite a few weeks after the Battle Royale version of the game initially launched, and was the first major change of pace for gunplay in Fortnite that the OG players saw. As I mentioned a little bit earlier on in this list, both the sound and the damage output that the original submachine gun had changed from its original state in Season 1, and is something that only OG Fortnite players will remember in its true form. Number 6. Seasonal Events. While seasonal-based events are a lot more prominent here in Fortnite nowadays, as are just events in general, there were some seasonal ongoings in the Battle Royale realm back in the Season 1 days too. Shortly after Season 1 launched, players saw the addition of the Pumpkin Launcher, which will remain as one of the most iconic weapons in all of Fortnite history, strictly based on the sound that it made alone. The Pumpkin Launcher was of course the first of many seasonal weapons we'd see over the course of time, and we also saw some holiday-themed launchers in the form of the Snowball Launcher in December as well. Number 7. The Flow of the Map. The Fortnite Season 1 map was very different than the map that we know now. It was a lot smaller, but despite the smaller size, had a lot more open space. The original map only launched with 13 named points of interest, that being Pleasant Park, Loot Lake, Anarchy Acres, Tomato Town, Wailing Woods, Dusty Depot, Retail Row, Lonely Lodge, Salty Springs, Greasy Grove, Flush Factory, Fatal Fields, and finally, Moisty Mire. Now, while quite a few of these locations are still around today in one way or another, the original Fortnite map was a lot more barren than the map that we know now, which is currently jam-packed with named locations and a lot more compact and dense in terms of lootable areas. In fact, the entire left side of the island couldn't be any more different. The west coastline of our current island currently houses Junk Junction, Haunted Hills, Snobby Shores, the Viking Village, Frosty Flights, and Happy Hamlet all in close proximity, whereas the Season 1 map actually had no coastal locations whatsoever. Places like Pleasant Park and Greasy Grove were actually the closest named points of interest to the coast at that time. Moving around the original Fortnite map was also pretty tedious, as with so much open space, you were very vulnerable to getting shot at, whereas now with so many points of interest in such close proximity, players are able to rely a lot more on natural cover when moving from point to point. Number 8. Building. Fortnite Battle Royale launched with the slogan, "The battle is building." Except, back in Season 1, building was a complete joke compared to what it is now. There was no sky bases being built in 5 seconds. There was no ramp wall floor pushes happening every single gunfight. Basically, there was no building meta at all. That is obviously very different from Fortnite nowadays, where everywhere you look, there's a massive tower being built into the sky. Instead of using builds as an aggressive way of pushing, back in Season 1, most players used building as a defensive strategy for fortifying their camping position. When you take a look at the good builders back in Season 1, they hardly even compare to the current definition of a good builder, as the meta has evolved so much it honestly doesn't even look like the same game. Season 1 building wasn't nearly as utilized and effective as it is in current day Fortnite, and its original form is something that only an OG player would be able to point out. And there you guys have it, those are 8 things in Season 1 that only an OG Fortnite player would notice. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to let us know by giving it a big old thumbs up and slapping that like button, as it would be much appreciated. Of course, if you guys are brand new here to the Simply Viral channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe with the channel notifications turned on by clicking that bell button, that way you'll never miss another upload. Last but not least, drop us a comment down below letting us know what season you guys started playing Fortnite Battle Royale in. With that being said, that effectively wraps up this video. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the Battle Bus. Peace out.